It is October 30th. It is 3:51 in the AM. Welcome to Super Death Grind, episode 9.5, week 9, day 5 of my 2-year super duper duper death grind. Updates on everything. Caffeine off the sauce, officially 100% caffeine free, sans a decaf quad shot Americano in the morning, which has trace milligrams of caffeine. I'm deciding if I want to give that up next week or not. I don't know. But no caffeine is going very fantastically, amazingly, supercalifragilisticexpialidociously well. If that's a thing. It's a thing now. So no caffeine is going super well. No social media is going beautifully well. Dopamine detox in full effect. I'm just going to turn my mic up. One bump. Hopefully it'll be I guess I kind of have a quiet low voice, so hopefully that'll be good. But yeah, that's going super well. Polyphasic sleeping going super well. Yesterday I was I don't know why. Every day is a little different with polyphasic sleeping. Some days I need no naps. Some days I need all the naps. But yesterday we had some staff training, and they were out on a field trip seeing some properties, and I was tired around like 4. Got real tired, and I knew I can't go home tired because I have kids and I need to be present for my wife and family. So I took a little office siesta around 4:15. Woke up at 5, and I napped just like a little baby who's super tired, just out cold, and then I woke up. You ever wake up where you're kind of groggy, but you're like, wow, that was a great nap. I woke up like that. So one of the cool things about not having caffeine, I find, is it's definitely easier to get in naps. And if you don't know, I'm doing polyphasic sleeping right now, which basically means I sleep very little. So I have a core sleep at night that is anywhere typically from 2 to 4 hours, and then I will nap periodically throughout the day if and when I need naps, if and when my schedule allows for it. There we go. So yesterday was a nappy kind of day. Today's kind of a weird day. I have appointments starting at 7:30 a.m. So I don't know if I'm going to get a mid-morning nap here or not, but we shall see. We shall persist. So yeah, polyphasic sleeping is going really well. I just recently started to extend my sleeping window just because my wife was complaining, which is true, that I was falling asleep too early. Sometimes I'd fall asleep on the sofa around 8, or I'd be watching a movie with the kids and just out. I will tell you the crazy thing about polyphasic sleeping and no caffeine, even with caffeine, but polyphasic sleeping, when you were ready for bed, you're ready for bed. Like it is it is a fight to keep your eyes open. Like, just, like when you see a child there and they're just trying their hardest to not drift into slumberland, you can't help drifting into slumberland. It's like a force of nature behind you closing your eyelids that you just can't fight. And it's for sleep's sake, it's a beautiful thing. So I mean, I for a long time I haven't had issues with sleep, but especially when I'm on polyphasic sleeping, it's just, I couldn't count. If I was trying to go to bed when it was bedtime, I couldn't count to 10 before falling asleep without fail, without clockwork. So the sleep is amazing. And generally I wake up, so I don't know what time I went to bed last night. I would imagine it was around 10. I woke up right around 2 a.m. today. So I got 4 hours, and I'm just, boom, ready to go. Like a little kid, just roll out of bed, and I'm like, yep, let's go. And usually I'm not groggy or tired at all. So that's going really well. Some things I've noticed on my diet side is I like to wait until later in the night to eat. So if I can wait to eat and keep my eating hours 7 to 9, that's kind of ideal. So I guess I'm doing like a 22-hour fast daily. And the reason is that, just inherently food slows you down, especially when you have any sort of carbohydrates. So, it furthers the sleepiness in my fast. I am interested to experiment with multi-day fasting, doing all I'm doing. But I would imagine if I do a multi-day fast, I wouldn't work out that day. And my workouts lately have been 7 to 10 minutes long. So, which has been going really good. I am trying to lean out a little bit currently because I think there are some benefits when you're really lean. And, if I had to guess, I've said it before, but I'm probably around the 5 to 8% body fat right now. But I could definitely lose some more fat healthily and not be a skeleton. So, I'm trying to slowly lean out, not putting a lot of pressure on myself. I'm rolling with the punches. If I feel like a sickness coming on or something, I'll try and get more sleep and eat more calories. So I'm not like, I'm not killing myself to lose weight here. And I won't, because it's not healthy. Anywho, um, yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the crux of today, why not caring what other people think is such a beautiful thing. And the caveat to this is, as long as you're a good human being and you're not trying to intentionally or unintentionally hurt anyone. So, what I mean by that is, you can unintentionally do something and hurt someone, with the other caveat if you have the greater good in mind, right? If my kid is crying and they're like, "Oh, I want sugar," and I'm like, "No sugar," chances are I have their best interest in mind. And although it does hurt them, I know it's for the greater good that they shouldn't have sugar. So sometimes you have to do some things that will hurt people for ultimately the greater good. I'm not saying being a dictator, guys, even though, you know, dictatorship maybe is where it's at. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows with this current political climate? Anyways, I digress. But being off social media recently, and mind you, this isn't the first time I've been off social media for any sort of window of time, but specifically getting off social media this time around with the mindset of, I'm doing it for a dopamine detox, because social media is an addiction. Whether you want to admit it or not, it is. It just is. But getting off social media this time around with the predication that it's an addiction and I'm doing this as a dopamine detox has really shed a lot of light on how beautiful it is to be off social media. And next week I'm going full flip phone mode. Man, do I have dandruff? What's going on here? There's some fuzzies going on. I don't think I have dandruff. So next week I'm going full flip phone mode. So I'm going to put call forwarding on. I will check my phone and emails for text periodically. I'll have someone taking my calls, and I'm going to give a couple people my flip phone number and carry that around. So if it's like an emergency, you can still get a hold of me if need be. But I'm really excited and looking forward to that, furthering the dopamine detox, because now, before, when I would post stuff to social media, and I would more occasionally, I would browse social media and get sucked into the rabbit hole that is clickbaity stuff, just like, oh, this person's doing this thing. What does this mean? Blah, 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 blah. And you get sucked down a rabbit hole. And before you know it, you've lost an hour of your time to social media. But, before, when I would, I'm listening to a song, or maybe like I'm working out and I'm like, dang, look at this lighting. Yes, vanity is still a thing. Not a good thing, but it's still a thing, and I'll admit it. I was like, oh, I want to post this thing. And, now when I do something or see something, and I want to post this thing, I'm like, hey, why do I want to post this? I want to post this for unnecessary attention. Okay, that's not a good idea. But you're off social media anyway, so you're not going to post it. But it makes you think about posting that. And then, why do I post that thing? Because I care about what other people think. And it's a really hard thing to get away from. I don't know if you ever truly can get away from not caring what other people think to some extent. Because I want to hold the door open for someone. So is it the perception of them wanting to think I'm nice, or is it just truly being nice? It's a great question, and it probably varies. Anyone who says they're 100% for humanity and super nice and they don't care what other people think, I would question And I would ask, what does your life look like? And do you dedicate your life to a mission where you don't get paid? And I would say, I doubt it. So who are you to talk? Just being honest. Um, but I mean, it just allows you to be more of yourself. And I think that is the unique, beautiful thing about every human being, is that we are all vastly different and no one will ever know our full intricacies except ourselves. And some people ultimately never get to be themselves fully because they care so much about what other people think. Right? You probably heard Gary Vee talking about keeping up with the Joneses, and it's totally true. People take on oodles and oodles of debt to look a certain way, to drive a certain car, to have certain clothes. I'm probably wearing Walmart sweatpants right now if you are really interested. And, a lot of people, I mean, that's how they predicate their life. That's how I predicated my life for a good chunk of it, is the perception of others, especially being in a business or industry where it's expected you make a certain amount of money and you spend it a certain amount of way to look a certain amount of way. It's totally bogus. It's totally bogus. And it doesn't allow you to be yourself. You know, I don't feel more myself when I'm wearing ratty work clothes, driving a crappy car. It's cool. It's beautiful. It just, why do I need a fancy car? It's silliness. Why do I need to post something to make other people feel a certain way or to get certain attention? Also silliness. And I'm not saying all social media is bad, and I'm not saying all posting is bad, but I think it can lead you down a rabbit hole. And I think it is also important to not only be conscious or conscientious of when you're posting things and asking yourself why you're posting things or why you're on social media. But I think it's more important to take breaks from social media so you can look at these things and you can feel certain things, and you can realize your addiction. I've said it before, but I've never really been a big Facebook guy. I've always been into the IG, and I think part of that is just because I was in the fitness space. That's where a lot of fitness people gravitate towards. It's just reading stuff about fitness and seeing what other people doing and reading research and following certain people. I trust in the fitness spaces. Fitness is just a passion of mine, and I would extend that to not just say fitness, but overall health and well-being is a passion of mine, both physically and psychologically, mentally, emotionally. The whole thing is super important to me because I believe everyone should be happy and healthy. But I would get sucked in rabbit holes, and I'd be on Instagram, and it'd be one of those things where I would get out my phone, I'd open it up, and I'd scroll over to click the app. And when I would delete the app, I would swipe up my phone, scroll over, find the app, and realize it's gone. And then I'm just like, "What are you doing, man? You're on autopilot here, just trying to find this app because you're addicted to it." You know. So I think it's really important that we just take intentional breaks from social media. So you know, I know for the public at large, no one's probably going to get off social media anytime soon, nor should you. I think in the long run, I think it is a great gift, and I think social media has a lot of benefits for humanity at large. But currently, we don't use it as you know a benefit necessarily. And I mean, some of the cool things that I see as a benefit, like, let's say there's an atrocity happening in a third world country. Someone with a cell phone can take a picture, post it to Twitter, and it goes viral. And we share this empathy point of view from this atrocity, and now the whole world knows, and we can take action to correct that atrocity. I think that's one of the best things to raise awareness for humanity as a whole, is the empathetic lens that it will capture the light of the world in. And sharing that emotionality to atrocities or certain causes, and bringing light to that is, I think, one of the greatest benefits that social media has. And also sharing knowledge and wealth of knowledge. So I think those are some of the benefits that social media currently has going for it, that again, by and large, that the world as a whole is not using it for currently. So good, bad, sad, I don't know. But take a break from social media. It's going to allow you to focus on yourself, and it's going to focus on you to be more of yourself. And this is both kind of like a mindset thing and a practicality thing, because I think it's really important that we know who we are, we concentrate on who we are, we clearly define who we are, and we lean into who we are even more, knowing and hoping that we do these things to be a good human. And I haven't always had, haven't always been a nice guy. I'll be the first one to admit that. And it takes a long, 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 long time to correct certain things about yourself, whether it be vanity or pride or ego, um, anything like that. It takes a long time. And it's also an ongoing process, because you have to constantly watch yourself. Because if you had, bad personality traits or habits that you grew up with, or that you've been enacting for a long time, it's really easy to get sucked back into that if you're not conscious about the path you're on, and constantly, recommitting yourself to who you ultimately want to be. Because I think self-development, I think it gets some negative connotations, and people think like Tony Robbins and firewalking and crazy chanting and stuff, which, has its time and its place. But I think self-development by and large is basically just trying to be a better version of yourself constantly. And if you're not focused on that constant progression of being a better person, it's really quick to lose it, because progress is everything. If you're not progressing towards something, even if you're staying stagnant, you don't feel good inside. And this is true for anything. If you set a fitness goal and you're losing weight, and then all of a sudden you're not losing weight, you're stagnant, that's how people start backsliding. Stagnation is backsliding. If you're not moving the needle forward, you just don't feel good. And I can say this in fitness too, because, anytime I set a goal, like let's say I want to lean out, and then I hit that goal, it's never a thing of maintenance for me. And I bet most fitness people would say this: true maintenance just doesn't exist, because you just get complacent with it and you get bored, and you're like, "Ugh, I don't find the passion in this because I'm not moving the needle forward." So inherently, what you ultimately always do is you start backsliding. Or you pivot and you say, okay, I've leaned out enough. Let me try and put on a little bit more muscle. Or, I think my body composition is good. Let me focus on this skill oriented fitness thing. Let me get into gymnastics. So you always have to find a new goal and progress towards that goal, which in self development is bettering oneself. And if you don't constantly seek to better yourself, which is a daily, hourly practice, you're going to backslide and you're not going to feel good about it. So I think I kind of got on a rabbit hole there. But the crux of this is, how do you not care what other people think? I think you should start by doing a social media fast, whatever buzzword you kids want to use these days. And, just focus on yourself and realize, why are you posting content, and why do you care what other people care? Because a lot of times the thoughts we form in our head are predicated on, what do I think they think about me? What do I think they think? There's a lot of thinking in there, and there's a lot of triviality in there. The question is, am I doing things that align with who I am? My goals, my dreams, who I am at heart. And that should be the end of the conversation. You shouldn't be caring what other people think because you're expected to look a certain way, act a certain way, anything. I mean, you should just be focusing on yourself. And if what you are, who you are, doesn't align with those around you, get new friends, or have serious conversations. If you have family that, for lack of better terms, you can't get rid of, because, we only have one family, but you're just going to be like, this is me, and I'm sorry you don't like me, but this is me. And, I still love you anyways. So I hope you love me anyways. It's really that simple. So that is it. Super Death Grind's going really well. Got some more